You want to sit here?
No, I'll just put it this way. It's not so. Just my hands. I'm not even.
As long as it's not like this, I don't care.
Just my.
That's
I'm
fine.
perfectly warm. Just. Once they warm up, they should be good. It's just-
As long as it's not in my face, I'm good.
Well, I can't- I thought it was better on the floor. It's been like that for 2 years and hasn't bothered you, you know?
Thank you. Still owe you a phone call, Gary. Still owe you a phone call. I owe you a phone call,
Okay.
or we could talk after the meeting. That's fine. Just seeing you made me think of it.
All right.
All right, good morning, everybody. Please rise for a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, bow your heads for just a moment. And please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Okay. Our next public workshop will be Tuesday, May 23rd at 10 a.m. And the next regular meeting will be May 24th at 10:30 a.m. right here in this room. And then the following week, I believe, is a holiday week, which we'll announce next week, the slight schedule modification. I'm just giving them a heads up. Yep.
And the reorganizational meeting. Or that it's the next day.
Mr.
Okay.
Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco. Mr. Malloy.
Here.
Item number 1, to dispense with reading the minutes of a special regular meeting, May 9th, 2023, and approve them as distributed and printed.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion, I just want for the record for it to be known that whenever we have meeting minutes, that they have to have an accurate account of what was being discussed, not just to say that there was a discussion. There on number 34, it was an inaccurate account. It just said spoke about without any description, and that's required by what was spoken about. Number 38, there were comments surrounding a conversation that completely didn't even show up in the minutes. Number 41, the entire discussion was missing the comment section. It gave an accurate and partial account of the discussion. So I just want to make sure that these are done better and not with a political.
Commissioner, they're getting calls if they can't hear you though. Let me know.
And part of the reason why some of those things may not be in there if it's inaudible. I know there were some issues last week with your heater between your voice and the tape recorder. And if they can't hear you, they can't hear you. It's not part of the minutes. It's not part of the regular minutes. If the people can't hear you and nobody hears what you say, It can't be part of the minutes.
So it actually is, and you're saying something to get the board collectively in trouble. There is, everything else was heard, everything is picked up on that recorder, and they need to be done accurately, especially given the fact that we have a case in common pleas about making sure that everything's done correctly. Please don't defend the board when they're doing things, when minutes are done the wrong way. Thank you.
I disagree that the minutes are done the wrong way. We'll see in court.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes,
Ms. Frenchco.
Because of incorrectness and inaccuracy, no.
Item number 2, to approve the bills.
Motion to approve?
second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes,
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 3, to transfer monies.
Motion to approve transferring monies as listed?
second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes,
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 4, to approve additional appropriations.
Motion to approve?
second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes,
Ms. Frenchco.
Because our own commissioner's office staff didn't give us the explanations and nor did Common Pleas. And I request this repeatedly, that whenever we are preparing for the meeting, I want to see explanations with these. So please make sure that I have them. It's no, because there's no explanation.
Item number 5, to transfer appropriations.
Motion to approve?
second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes,
Ms. Frenchco.
For the same reason, but this one relates to the prosecutor's office. If the prosecutor would have provided an explanation, I would have been able to vote yes. And also, I just think that these need to be into us earlier and for our staff to actually ascertain the reason for the vote no. I'm voting without.
no, that would have been, you could have learned an awful lot being in a public meeting. And once again, for the record, you did not attend a public meeting this week. Auditor Yoder was here and went over every transfer with us, everyone.
Okay, so
Her time is valuable enough to be with us. Apparently yours wasn't.
you were here for an hour. I was here from 11 until 7, going over every single thing, correcting the agenda. So presence does not equal productivity.
Correct.
just because-
And you didn't go to the salt face meeting afterward. You were here when we went and we're like, where's Commissioner Frenchco? Absent.
I didn't have.
The 3 commissioners in Geauga were there. We were there. This has been scheduled for the whole year. It's on the schedule for the whole year. You know the schedule.
Wasn't my calendar. That's another problem.
You were at the last meeting when we set the next meeting. You were there. When we talked about when the next meeting was, you were there.
No, this is ridiculous. Our staff needs to actually start doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that was not on my agenda, period. Nor was there a packet in my mailbox, and they're supposed to print a packet and let you know whenever there's something to go to. However, when there's a social event, I see them reaching out to remind you to go to social
Well,
events.
I'm
That-
sorry they didn't hold your hand and tell you, you have to go to a meeting today.
No.
The other commissioners were responsible enough to go.
Okay, so back to the preparation for this meeting and the discussion. It's not good enough for me to just have someone tell me something. I want to see something from the prosecutor's office, and Auditor Yoder did not even receive anything from the prosecutor's office, or she would have given it to me, because it doesn't come from her office. It comes to from the other elected officials and from the other department heads. And all I'm asking for is a basic explanation, which is what other counties do as a routine measure. And we should be doing that in Trumbull County. And it should be listed on our agenda so the public could see the reasons for these two. But
Maybe we should pay the clerks commissioners pay. Maybe they deserve it more if they have to do all the work for you.
there's no way to ascertain that.
Madam Clerk.
Did you even,
on the floor.
did you even see why, did you see an explanation from the prosecutor's office?
We discussed everything on there yesterday. If we had any questions,
Explanation.
I don't know. Were you there?
I know you didn't. I listened and I have a packet of everything
Okay.
that was received, and there was no explanation.
And you don't know what conversations went on before that. You don't know where I was before I came to the meeting or where I went after.
You're blindly voting based on words instead of actual review of documents, which is what we're charged to do.
And you don't trust any of our department heads ever, unless it's something where you want to trust them when
Okay.
it's convenient for you.
Now, everything that I do is based on review.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please, or the vote.
I'll call
She
the
already did.
Current item number 6 is to adopt a resolution celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs. The Board of Trumbull County Commissioners recognizes the Warren City Federation of Women's Club for their faithful service and dedication in observing the accomplishments that women have made to society, both past and present. And there is a resolution to present today.
Can you read that?
Yeah, sure. Is anyone here for, or Auditor Yoder's here for, to accept the resolution? This is a resolution by the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners honoring the 100th anniversary of the GFWC Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs. And whereas it is with great pleasure that the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners joins others in celebrating the 100th anniversary of the General Federation of Women's Clubs, Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs, for their faithful service and dedication in observing the accomplishments that women have made to society, both past and present. And whereas the GFWC, Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs, was established in 1923 and has continued the tradition of women's clubs by promoting civic welfare through united club efforts. Although the member clubs have changed during the past 100 years, the interchange of ideas and unity among women helping each other through volunteering for the betterment of the city of Warren and the surrounding communities has certainly continued. And whereas the highly esteemed members of the GFWC Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs have touched the lives of so many through monthly community outreach collections and donations to help support local food banks, our veterans, our women's shelters, scholarships to college students, and co-sponsorship for women's equality celebrations. And whereas member clubs share through networking and newsletter communications regarding the various activities of their specific club, giving other clubs the opportunity to support one another. And so therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners hereby congratulates the GFWC Warren City Federation of Women's Clubs for 100 years of dedication to community improvement through volunteer service, and their motto, women making a difference yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, Denny Malloy, Mauro Cantalamessa, and Nikki Frenchco. Congratulations, guys.
I need to sign
Christie's
it
here to-
still.
Martha, you want to do the photo op afterward, after she frames it up?
We can do that after public comment.
That'll be
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second?
Thank you.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Item number 7, to approve an agreement between the Trumbull County Engineer, the Trumbull County Board of Commissioners, and the Economic Development Rail 2 Corporation. This agreement allows Trumbull County to pave and resurface a section of South Levitt Road, a county road within Warren Township, Trumbull County, Ohio. As presently, there is a railroad crossing not in use in poor condition that would be greatly improved for vehicular travel and safety by completing paving over the railroad crossing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 8, to approve change order numbers 1 through 4 with Faust Construction Incorporated for the construction of the East Market Street North Road project. Change order number 1 is in the amount of $0. Change order number 2 is in the amount of $0. Change order number 3 is a deduct in the amount of $24,756.06. And change order number 4 is in the amount of $8,261.77. Change order numbers 1 through 4 result in a decrease of $16,494.29 to the contract, which is now $518,079.17. This will be funded by an 80% CMA Q STB G, grant received through Eastgate Regional Council of Governments, which is a direct pay of the 20% local match will be provided by Trumbull County Engineer Fund. No general revenue funds will be utilized. These change orders are necessary to reflect the final quantities of the project.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 9, to approve the 2023-2024 proposal specifications for bids for traffic signal maintenance for the Trumbull County Engineers Department and to authorize the Board of Commissioners clerk to advertise for sealed bids for traffic signal maintenance. The contract shall be in effect for a 1-year period beginning July 7th, 2023 and ending July 6th, 2024, with the option of 2 extensions for an additional 1-year period each.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 10 is to grant the special annual supplier fleet permit, and that's with Brinker Dairy and Farm Service.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 11 is to grant the special hauling permit to haul steel coils on Trumbull County roadways. That is with PI&I Motor Express Incorporated. They have 2 permits, numbers 53 and number 54.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco. Item number 12, to grant the right-of-way permits listed, and they are Northeast Ohio Natural Corporation, Dominion East Ohio, and Bill Yance.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco. Item number 13, to receive and place on file the March 2023 monthly financial report for the Trumbull County Tourism Bureau.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 14, to authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute on behalf of Trumbull County's profile plan budget report for the Title 20 Social Services Block Grant as administered by the Trumbull County Department of Job and Family Services. The budgeted funds represent 2-year plan operating through the federal fiscal year periods of October 1, 2023 through September 30th, 2024, and October 1, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, to allow for the delivery of social service programs, health-related and home care services, as well as adult protective services, transportation, etc., to eligible Trumbull County residents. The projected budget for these time periods is $145,500, which is federally funded for a 2-year period not to exceed $291,000.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 15 is to approve change order number 1 with Codwell Tanks Incorporated. That's for contract A for the Mineral Ridge Hydraulics Improvement Project known as project number 2W15 located in Mineral Ridge Public Water System, Weathersfield Township in the amount of $68,458.65, revising the total contract amount to $2,060,458.65. This will be paid from the Ohio Department of Development Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Grant and Weathersfield Township. No general funds are required for this project.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
I would like to wait until we get approval from the prosecutor's office because this wasn't in the original scope of work, and a change order of that magnitude, even though it's primarily covered by a grant, is when it changes the scope of work, it's not proper. And we've had mistakes like that before where we've pushed change orders through without having it approved first, and then we've been in trouble. So I think that we need to get an approval from the prosecutor's office, which I requested yesterday because it came to us and got put on the agenda without anything saying if it was okay because it wasn't in the original scope of work. So, no. But we really need to do better, board.
Item 16.
Okay. Item number 16, the Trumbull County Planning Commission is requesting the Board of Commissioners to adopt the following resolution to concur with the Liberty Township trustees to amend the Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area to reflect updates to the Ohio Revised Code via Senate Bill 33. I'll read a little of the resolution. Whereas the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, herein the board created the Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area by resolution dated January 9th, 2013, duly recorded in Journal Volume 139, pages 17207 to 17210, and amended by resolution dated May 11th, 2016, duly recorded in Journal Volume 144, pages 19882 to 19885, to reflect an expansion of the geographic size of the existing Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area, and now wishes to amend that resolution to reflect updates to the Ohio Revised Code.
It's important to mention the amounts, up to 10 years with 75% of the remodeling for every dwelling containing more than 2 housing units, and then on both of those with commercial and industrial. So it's all listed in here, but I just wish more could be read.
Like,
Madam Clerk, you
Okay.
can keep reading if you'd like.
sure. Whereas the board desires to pursue all reasonable and legitimate incentive measures to assist and encourage development in a specific area of Liberty Township identified in Exhibit A that has not enjoyed reinvestment from remodeling or new construction. And whereas the maintenance of existing and construction of new structures is in such area would serve to encourage economic stability, maintain real property values, and generate new employment opportunities. Whereas the remodeling of existing structures or the construction of new structures in this community reinvestment area constitutes a public purpose for which real property exemptions may be granted. Whereas Senate Bill 33 included permanent changes to the Ohio Community Reinvestment Area, the CRA program, effective April 4th, 2023, and the board wishes to amend the resolution accordingly. Now, there be it resolved by the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners that Section 1, the area designated as the Belmont Area Community Reinvestment Area constitutes an area in which housing facilities or structures of historical significance are located, and in which new construction or repair of existing facilities has been discouraged. Section 2, pursuant to ORC Section 3735.66, the resolution creating the Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area as amended reflects that the Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area is established in and includes the following area. The Belmont Avenue Community Reinvestment Area contains approximately 3,024 parcels on either side of Belmont Avenue, State Route 193 corridor in Liberty Township, Trumbull County, Ohio. The southern terminus is Gypsy Lane, County Highway 44-B, and the northern terminus, approximately 3 miles north, is Tibbetts Corners Wick Road, County Highway 28. The width of the CRA varies significantly. The total area of the CRA is approximately 1,713 acres, including area within rights of way. Section 3, all properties identified in Exhibit A as being within the designated community reinvestment area are eligible for this incentive. This proposal is a public-private partnership intended to promote and expand conforming uses in the designated area. As part of the project, Liberty Township intends to undertake supporting public improvements in the designated area. Section 4, within the Belmont Avenue CRA, the percentage of the tax exemption on the increase is the assessed valuation resulting from improvements to commercial and industrial real property, and the term of those exemptions shall be negotiated as follows. A, up to 10 years and up to 75% for the remodeling of every dwelling containing more than 2 housing units and commercial or industrial properties upon which the cost of remodeling is at least $5,000 as described in ORC 3735.67, the term and percentage of which shall be negotiated on a case-by-case basis prior to commencement of remodeling. B, up to 10 years and up to 75% for the construction of every dwelling containing more than 2 housing units and new commercial and industrial properties, the term and percentage of which shall be negotiated on a case-by-case basis prior to commencement of the construction. The results of the terms and percentage as negotiated shall be set in writing in a CRA agreement as outlined in ORC section 3735.671. For residential property, a tax exemption on the increase is the assessed valuation resulting from the improvements as described in ORC section 3735.67 shall be granted upon proper application by the property owner and certification thereof by the designated housing officer. The percentage and terms of those exemptions shall be as follows. And that is C, 10 years for the remodeling of every residential dwelling containing not more than 2 housing units and upon which the cost of remodeling is at least $2,500 as described in ORC 3735.67, and with such exemption being 50% for each of the 10 years. D is 10 years for the construction of dwellings containing not more than 2 housing units as described in ORC 3735.67, with such exemption being 50% for each of the 10 years. Structures exclusively used for residential purposes containing not more than 2 housing units shall be classified as residential structures. Every dwelling containing more than 2 housing units is to be classified as commercial. If remodeling qualifies for an exemption during the period of the exemption, the exempted percentage of the dollar amount of the increase in market value of the structure shall be exempt from real property taxation. If new construction qualifies for an exemption during the period of the exemption, the exempted percentage of the structure shall not be considered to be an improvement on the land on which it is located for the purpose of real property taxation. Keep going.
I think that suffices. I just, just to reiterate what we talked about yesterday at the public meeting. And Trustee Chismar from Liberty was here, and I think he said it best. This is just another tool in the toolbox locally that they can use and have a little bit more autonomy with when it comes to abatements and CRAs and that sort of thing. So we have an aggressive incentive program here in Trumbull County that we have through our planning commission. They do an outstanding job. And again, this program, these changes that have happened through the ORC are just going to give those local communities a little bit more autonomy. So we're happy to support this, I think. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco. Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Item number 17, to accept the resignation of Mr. Roger Laird from his position as Operations Manager with the Trumbull County 911 Center effective May 19th, 2023. Mr. Laird's resignation letter shall be recorded onto the journal for record purposes.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
and Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 18, to establish the creation of the Women's Therapeutic Distribution Docket, known as Fund 42, for use by the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 19, to establish the creation of the Reentry Court, known as the Fund Number 44, for use by the Trumbull County Adult Probation Department.
A motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 20, to approve the renewal software support and maintenance agreement with Document Technology Systems LTD, used by the Trumbull County Recorder's Office in the amount of $30,588 on the yearly anniversary of the first live day for 5 years from that date. Absolutely no county general revenue funds will be utilized, and authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute said software support and maintenance agreement on behalf of Trumbull County.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Because we have passed a resolution that said that we are requiring that contracts are reevaluated to find out if we can get a better price or better services. And that didn't happen with this. Though it's not required necessarily by law, we passed that locally when I started to make sure that we're getting the right vendors. And there's no definition of expenses in the contract. The contract was actually prepared by the vendor in this case. It wasn't even prepared by our prosecutor's office or even reviewed. And just recently, about a month or so ago, we had a problem with that because there was a clause in there that wasn't allowed. It was an indemnification issue. So I think that before we pass things, we need to make sure that we're getting the right service, making an effort to make sure that we're improving data technology and getting the best price, and B, making sure that our prosecutor's office is preparing it, because it makes me feel eerie to have the vendor preparing our contracts, because of course they're going to be writing it in their best interest, not the county. So I have to vote no.
But it was reviewed by our prosecutor's office in the last sentence. So they wouldn't have given us the approval if they didn't think it was a legal contract. And it's a single sole source contract. So that means that there's not a lot of, or any other vendors that can do that.
So if they're looking at it, that doesn't mean that they're reviewing it for terms. They're just reviewing it to be approved as to form, and it doesn't define travel expense.
How do we know that?
Did
How
you
do we
look
know that? How do we know that they're not reviewing it more than to form? Do you have emails or anything to
Yes,
say that?
I've actually talked to Bill Danzo, and they said that they review them as to form, not as to,
So
whether
what
or
do you
not it's-
propose we do?
I already said
That
what I
what-
proposed.
Have the prosecutor's office create the contracts?
I've already said that I think that they need to be reviewed for form, content, and.
They don't understand the content. That's the difference. You want them to review content of sanitary engineering contracts, of recorder's office contracts. They're not experts in the content. Can I speak, please? They're not experts in the content. They're experts in the form of the legal aspect of it. They can't look at it through content.
Okay, so you're just morphing two things here, but in the process.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. If you're going to talk about the sanitary engineer's office, we can go there. But there have been problems. Right now, we have a demand letter because there was a problem, because there was a contract that really should have been, there is a change order that was really a new contract. We have regular problems there. And we also have an attorney.
idea what
We
you're
also
talking
have an
about.
attorney in the prosecutor's office who is designated for sanitary, who
We
deals
can
with that.
agree to
So this
disagree,
You're
Commissioner.
drifting off laner. Todd Littell.
was.
Todd Littell is an elected official. He's the county recorder. Todd Littell did this contract. I'm not going to sit here and tell Todd Littell how to do his job as recorder,
Or
as you would not want Todd Littell to tell you how to do your job as
absolutely
commissioner.
ridiculous.
And Todd, it's a single source. He gave a good presentation yesterday,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to sit here and micromanage any other department and any other elected official and think that I know his job better than he does.
Nor
Okay, so-
can we, Commissioner.
so,
We're not
um,
allowed to do that.
Okay, so I understand that you vote based on presentations, but I don't. I actually reviewed the contract, and a lot of the things are undefined. So the contract discusses costs, but it doesn't define what they are and what they're based on. So I personally, and I don't think any person who's a taxpayer in Trumbull County would say, okay, I'm going to
Like-
agree to a contract that talks about costs that aren't defined.
I'm going to say this again. This is
So-
a single source contract,
Okay.
which means we can only go with this vendor.
And this is a renewal where he's dealt with this company since he's been in office.
Just like the jail. Okay.
It's not
I-
just
I-
like the jail. It's
I'm just-
completely
Not at all.
different.
I've seen this too many times here, and that's why when I started, we did.
So
pass-
Todd Littell was a good old boy.
We did-
You're gonna say he's part of the good old boy network too? Now you're gonna go after Todd Littell,
Again, these,
just like the prosecutors and the judges and the auditors and the sanitary engineer. And the list goes on and on and on and on of the people that you know how to do their job better than they do. It's unreal.
The Board of Commissioners is responsible for contracting on behalf of Trumbull County for all the elected officials. We need to take that job seriously. And when I started, the board did pass a resolution saying that we would look at everything before it comes due instead of just reissuing the same one. But since we passed that, the board isn't following it. And I understand it's just the way things have always been done, but I disagree with it.
Item number 21, to receive and place on file the monthly activities report for the Trumbull County Dog Kennel for the month of April 2023.
motion to approve.
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
22.
Number 22, to go in executive session pursuant to all revised code 121.22 G4 to prepare for conducting, reviewing negotiations or bargaining session with public employees concerning their compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment within AFSCME 2493 bargaining unit.
Second,
So we eliminated 22, 23, and 24 from yesterday. That's where I have my notes.
Yes,
So-
Yeah, those have
Okay.
been removed by Commissioner Cantala Mesa.
call the
Actually,
roll.
by me.
Mauro, I think, asked to pull these off yesterday.
No, that
didn't he?
was me, because I was with Alex and
who
in the afternoon. I'm just saying. I was here until,
Mr.
I'm glad that it actually happened, but I was here. working
let's
on it.
call the roll.
Would have just voted on something that was wrong, so.
I
The-
pulled it
vote-
off the agenda.
The- The vote for item number 22 is Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Cantala
That was
Mesa.
your
Yes.
cousin getting
And
a
Ms.
pain for
Frenchco.
us. Okay,
What cousin?
Go for executive session.
the one that was pulled. All right.
What are you
yes,
talking about?
The vote,
The one that you pulled off.
That's not
yours
my
that you-
cousin. I have no relation to that
Okay.
person.
the vote for executive session, Ms. Frenchco.
Defamatory and
I didn't
slanderous.
hear you, I'm sorry. Okay,
It is.
executive session.
To say that.
your
To
homework.
say it's your cousin.
your
or
homework.
Because he's your cousin, so.
Well, then it must be true. Well, mine's a mess.
Thank you. Oh, you can give that. Put the time down, so. You need the time for when. Yes, yes. Yeah, I did ask. Yeah. 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 Okay, so, but, so. So we're in executive session, which executive session could be. So we'll just. We'll have, that'll be this one, and then this one. Have a few more. Oh. If my agenda item. I just need, does yours? I had a copy this morning. Or is it 27? Got it. Yeah, I got it. I'm good. Yeah. There was 2 executive sessions.
About anything that's not.
That was a long. Nonstop. So you just. Yeah.
Okay, make a motion to reconvene from executive session pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 12122 G4 to prepare for conducting, reviewing negotiations of bargaining sessions with public employees concerning the compensation or other terms and conditions of their employment within AFSCME 2493 bargaining unit.
Second.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 24, to approve the settlement agreement between the Trumbull County Board of Commissioners, thereafter referred to as employer, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFSCME, Local 2493, as collective bargaining representative, also referred to herein as the union and grievance.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
On a discussion point, I want to make sure that our other department heads, sanitary engineer is here, that he gets with the, HR to make sure that we're following things properly, because one of the reasons that we have to do this is a result of not following our union CBA when it comes to hiring. We don't give years of experience unless it's at Trumbull County, and this is in order to correct a past practice that can now continue. So when we have a union, we need to make sure we're following that, because if you do for one and you're hiring people in, then other people will start to grieve too. So.
We
Yes.
have many department heads. I don't know why you needed to single one person out. I think that
mean,
was
major. It was like
unprofessional.
it was, okay, well, it was just, I just want to make sure. I mean, it was 17 years.
Apologize to you on behalf of the board, Mr. Newbrow.
As do I, Gary.
I don't. I want to make sure we're doing things right. So, I mean,
Call the roll again for number 24, Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
yes.
Item number 25 is a routine liquor permit. And that's a new one from El Tapadio, Mexican Restaurant LLC.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 26, to authorize the necessary steps in an with an approved financial institution in obtaining the issuance of a credit card at the request of and issuance to Trumbull County Commissioner Nikki Frenchco in accordance with agenda item dated January 3rd, 2023, volume 154, page 25324, renewing the resolution as amended previously adopted by the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners on March 9th, 1995, approving the issuance of credit cards in the name of Trumbull County and designated county offices and individuals authorized to use specific credit cards, and exempting all credit card purchases from the advance estimate requirement. Note, the use, allowable expenses, and issuance of said credit card shall follow the current guidelines under RC 301.27.
I'd like to make a motion to table this per our meeting yesterday. Alexandra is redoing the employee manual and the policies and procedures regarding credit cards. It was last done in 1995. It's archaic. And she is working on that right now. We exchanged some emails yesterday. Things need to be reviewed by the prosecutor's office, which we hope to have this week. We weren't able to get it today. But by next week, definitely we can have the opinion from the prosecutors and she can update that part of the policy and procedures. So it'll affect all employees equally.
I would want to make a motion to include all Trumbull County Commissioners, to amend it to include all commissioners.
We don't have credit cards.
Mr. Fuda had one up until here, and we've had a problem with not reimbursing. And whenever I pay things out of pocket, not only have I not been reimbursed, I'm paying tax, and it should be tax exempt. So if I were to have, if we as as commissioners would have that, then we'd be able to be tax exempt in our purchases, which is what it should be. So,
I don't have a credit card, nor do I want one.
and I'm sure you wouldn't have a problem getting something reimbursed, but I have, so.
Not things that go above and beyond the scope of my duties.
There's a motion on the
That
table
remains to be
to
seen.
table it.
I'll second it.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes, and then I want to make a motion from the floor because I asked that it be listed on the agenda and no one still did that. I'd like to make a motion to approve my travel expenses to DC for the fly-in. It's been almost a year and the staff has still not reimbursed, and it should be done as part of their duty. So that's my motion, is to be reimbursed for the travel expenses, which were prosecutor's office even said to just go ahead and do it rather than filing in small claims court or something. It's extremely petty not to reimburse travel. Been a year.
Motion dies for lack of a second.
I asked that it be put on the agenda. What? I want, again, that also was not in the minutes last week, that it was requested to be put in the agenda this week. So that should have been in the minutes, and then it needs to actually go on next week. Okay.
Item number
Just for the record, I'll say I do agree you need to be reimbursed on the expenses. Absolutely. The problem that I have is the receipts that were turned in was a credit card statement that you cut and pasted, and you've got dates that are out of order, and there are things clearly missing in the middle that doesn't make sense on why it's done that way. You went from the 16th to the 17th to the 14th to the 16th, and it's all looks like it's a credit card statement, but it's clearly been modified and tampered with in a sense. And that's what was submitted
So they
to the
didn't
Attorney
give-
General's.
I not only gave them that, I also gave them to show that it was on my credit card. I also showed them every single itemized from the flight receipt to the transportation receipts. I gave them every receipt as well. So it wasn't just my credit card statement, because that wasn't adequate. I gave her the other things as well. So she has probably a stack of papers this thick because it wasn't good enough. So I gave her this, and then I gave her this. I repeated, I think, several times in giving her those receipts. So she actually has all of the receipts.
And I would recommend too, I wasn't here.
I'm not privy to see everything that I use my credit card for. So
Correct.
of course, I'm only going to give you the things that relate to county business.
Correct. And I think there are some events coming up. I know there's a fly-in coming up again on the 7th that I'll be attending. And that's something that, I don't know if you're attending also,
But I'm not going to.
but I think we should,
Chat, are you?
no.
Yeah, and neither did I. I wanted
So-
to save money, and I didn't take an expensive flight during the middle of the day. I took one at night that ended up not arriving until 4 in the morning.
Again,
So the
this is
good
stuff
deed-
before me, but I'm saying is,
Good deed goes unpunished. I go and I get a $400 flight instead of flying on a private jet or going at a normal reasonable time, which would be twice as much. So I do my best to save, and then here I'm still not getting reimbursed. So
but I would
Yeah.
say in the future for all of us, if we know something is coming up, we bring it up in advance
I did.
and bring it, I wasn't here. That's what I'm saying. I'm just talking about from now that I'm here.
Absolutely difficult, and this is the same person who refuses to do spreadsheets and is.
And we're not gonna
working
single out
to,
any
you know,
individual person. The
actually
board is
working
responsible for the
to
actions.
me from office,
The
which is
board-
Completely illegal.
The
to do
board
because it's
is
an actual
responsible
crime.
for the
Yeah.
reimbursements.
It is.
And I have yet
And that's
I
another
have yet
thing.
to see any receipts handed to me or brought before the board. You just asked to be reimbursed. Why didn't you bring the receipts for tomorrow and I to see? So we have it in front of us. You want all the background information from the clerk. Why can't I get the background?
Employee, you have
Well, you want me to approve it paying you back?
they
I should be able to see what I'm paying you back for.
pay for everything. Not just what they want to show you.
And the employee's not asking to be reimbursed. You are.
That's their job, though. My job duty as an elected official is not to maintain.
On behalf of the board, and from what I understand,
Public
there
records request.
there are some questions in regards to validity of some of the stuff on there. So that's why I would like to see it myself.
I was accused of sightseeing and other things, so. I think you were there. I don't think I was even at the cigar place, but you'll probably go.
Sounds like it'd be fun,
Yeah, but I wasn't trying.
but I
to-
won't ask for reimbursement for it if I do.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I didn't go.
Are you going to the event? We'll have a cigar. Okay.
I won't.
Okay. Madam Clerk, next item.
Okay, item number 27, to release 5 payments for a total of $24,347.47. Hospital Trust Fund to cover the previously billed charged amounts for methadone treatment and or MAT claims that were submitted and denied under our self-funded plan option. This necessary change will bring us into compliance with the DOL and the Mental Health Parity Act.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 28, to acknowledge methadone as an allowable claim under our current UHC coverage effective immediately. Special note, this necessary change will bring us into compliance with the DOL and the Mental Health Parity Act.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes, and I also want to just ask that our sheriff recognize this as well. There are people who are in jail and then they're taken off their treatment when they arrive, and sometimes they, most of the times that I've gotten 2 complaints over the last week, people are coming in with their medications and they're having them withheld from them. So this is not okay. If the county's recognizing it, it's Mental Health Month. We recognized it last month. If we're doing this to become in compliance, I believe our sheriff needs to follow suit and start treating people who have inmates with mental illnesses with dignity also. So
I agree, but there are instances too. One of the cases, I believe one of the cases she's talking about, the patient came in with medical marijuana. And on no way,
talking about
no way, shape or form, I can encourage our sheriff to give marijuana to inmates.
Item number 29. Item number 29, to adopt a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Trumbull County, Ohio, entering upon its journal the filing of a petition for annexation seeking to annex approximately 31.3801 acres of land located in Howland Township and Vienna Township to the city of Niles, Ohio, establishing the board hearing date of Monday, July 17, 2023 at 10 a.m. Warren, Ohio time. And that is for said petition. And to refer to the legal description of the perimeter and the map or plat of the territory proposed to be annexed to the Trumbull County engineer for a review. Note the agent for the petitioner, Attorney Nils Peter Johnson of Johnson and Johnson. He filed the said petition with the clerk of the board on May 15th, 2023 at 11:19 a.m.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
yes.
And item number 30, to accept and file the certificate of membership, number 38181 from the State of Ohio Department of Administrative Services. And that's for Trumbull County's participation in the Cooperative Purchasing Program through the Ohio Department of Administrative Services Office of Cooperative Purchasing.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
All right, that concludes our regular business. Do we have any business from the floor, from the audience? Yes, sir. Come forward. State your name, use the microphone up front.
My name is Michael Slawinski. I'm the Chief Boning Official for Trumbull County, and I'm here to address the commissioners on an update on what the Building Inspection Department has been working with the local ASME union as far as staffing and as far as replacing members of our department that we have lost through tragic circumstances. So we lost our assistant building official a little over 6 months ago. That was a union position. My claim is that it should not be a union position. We have worked with the local ASME union to remove that position from our role so that we would not fill the assistant building officials union position, and we would substitute it with an office manager position. Okay. We've worked with them now for several months. We've come to an agreement. There's things that they want in order to recognize these changes. Okay. To be clear, we would leave the assistant's position there, This position would be an office manager, same duties that the previous individual had, same pay range, but it would be a non-union management position. This person would not perform building inspections as the previous one had done. That would be left up to the current inspection staff. Okay. What they wanted a lot of things that we negotiated with the union. Okay. So what they want, and which we agreed to, is we would create a trainee position within the building inspection department. So we would have an entry level pay grade 4. We would post that position, a young man or a young woman, whoever the case may be, with some construction experience, not enough to qualify to get certified through the state of Ohio. And we would put them on as a trainee. We would train them and help them get certified so that when a position is available, we would have someone to fill that role as a building inspector. Okay. That's good for us. We have had problems filling these positions in the past. It's good for the union. That's a mutually beneficial agreement. Okay. They want trainee certification for the building inspectors. This trainee would be under their supervision, guidance, what have you. That's 50 cents an hour. And we've agreed to that. They want the current secretary to be moved from a pay grade 5 to a pay grade 7. In light of his work duties and the current bargaining agreement, and what I reference is the 20%, I don't have an issue with that either. So these changes in effect would increase our staffing at the building inspection department. And the cost of these would be approximately $50,000 a year, which is well within what we generate and revenues for the county. We've been working on this for 4 months off and on through the previous HR, through current HR, and this is the latest status of where we are, what represents where we are with this negotiations.
So you need action on the board to approve
No, I
that? Or
want-
what do we?
We're in a position now where we're gonna post the office manager's position. So if we post that position, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to you and say, I need to hire this person. And then in order to alleviate any union interference, they're gonna expect that this bargain be recognized. And that's when we would say, and then I would come to you and say, hey, we need to raise this individual from a 5 to a 7. We need to create this trainee position. So one thing leads to the next. It's a grand bargain. We can't do one thing without the other.
Problem that I had with this, though, I like your idea because I agree when you're looking at someone in that position, you would prefer that it not be, I get that. I agree with you. The issue is just how it came about. And we only have a couple times that we're allowed to reopen our contract, and that doesn't happen until next year. And for the reopening. So my concern is how you can't do anything like this if one thing impacts the other, like you were trying to put something on yesterday, but it's part of a larger agreement, then you would need a memorandum of understanding or something all at one time.
We could certainly do that.
But none of this came. Yes, none of this came through. There's no documentation.
That's why I'm here today, though.
Yes, but
That's why I'm here today, to
I
bring this to you, because this has been, negotiated for the last 4 months, 5 months, back and forth with the union, with previous HR, with current HR. And so what this represents is the latest and greatest that all parties can agree on.
And I know that in my time with Mike, you've been waiting for that position, that
We need
that
help.
inspector position to be non-union. And I know there've been some
I mean, let's be clear,
circumstances
that's
there.
my replacement. That's who that would be. That would be.
I
my
know,
replacement.
and that's why it's so critically important.
Neither of us disagree on that, and we're familiar with what's been going
Correct.
on and what the issues are. But at the same time, and that as a global problem that we have, lacking a county administrator, okay, you've been negotiating something for 4 months without the commissioners knowing, not that we disagree, but
We have the HR director doing it.
no, actually,
Yes, she
hang on, hang on.
Go
Let-
ahead.
No, I'm talking. So this happened last year with an interim HR director that was on his way out, that didn't know public government or anything, was leading him down the wrong path. And we had a lot of damage control when the guy left to do, because things were done the wrong way. Either way with an HR director, the point is, even the HR director, there should be a county administrator, or the board needs to at least be aware of what's going on.
We are aware today. That's why I pulled it from executive session,
Okay.
and that's why I told him to come in public comment to make it as transparent and as open as we can.
Today. But it's been going on since like.
We
Chuck
haven't
Yeager's
been to a
here.
point where
Yeah.
we could all agree to it as well. So that's why we're here today. This represents the a version that all parties can agree on, which is very rare with the local ASME union.
Sure is.
Yes, but we don't have any paperwork or any, do
Let-
we?
let me-
are-
let me
are
just
you
say
willing
this.
to Get this.
Let's,
Are-
yes, let's just say we couldn't come to an agreement. We couldn't come to an agreement with you and we'd have walked away. We'd have walked away from it. That didn't happen. We came to an agreement. So now we'll formalize it, not an issue. It's not an issue. I'm here to brief the.
That's what I
board
would say, Mike. I would say,
Where we are with this issue.
write it up and submit it to Alexandra. Make sure she's okay with it. Present it to us. I have no problem with this either.
And it's done as transparently as possible. I'm fine with it.
Any.
So I do want to note that the board was made aware of this on March 24th by Mr. Slawinski
Correct.
via email. It was as soon as I came on board and realized that these talks were happening, I immediately stepped in with Mike, with the union I can't attest to what happened before me. He can't attest to what happened before me. And it's not a director or department head's fault that there was no HR here before. That shouldn't be held against. What he wants to do has been vetted through me and the union. It is a succession plan for not only him, but it is something that our county has never done before, quite frankly. To build a trainee program and have that here is called succession planning. Those are things that our county wants to do and should be doing. So I do understand that maybe things in the past haven't been done, before me, but I'm here now and I can tell you that I would never put anything in front of you that I didn't feel like was good for the benefit of Trumbull County, its departments and its people
Yeah.
and its employees.
I mean, we talked yesterday for an hour about this.
Yes.
The three
And
of
I
us.
do, I
And
have
so
to
of
stand by
course
him
I
on
agree.
this.
Oh, I agree with it. It's just the process, and you can't put a piece of you can't put a piece of an agreement on unless all of it's there together.
Sure.
So once that entire MOU is done, then we can advertise for both of the positions, then we
agree.
can make the other change. But you can't do that until the MOU's there.
And that's
So-
fine. And we have all
Okay.
all intentions of doing an MOU. And I've already talked to Breen and Brian about that.
Okay.
Yes, no, that's already been taken care of.
But this was the necessary first step.
Correct. We had to get with you guys first. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to, we don't want to just come to you with an MOU fully baked and blindside the board. This is us trying to be transparent truly. Since I've been here, I think Mike, he felt very passionate about this and I have to support him. I think it's a great idea.
I'm not disagreeing.
We just need to move forward. We need to get this, we need to move the ball down the field. We need to get this going. We need
Correct.
to get these people in the department. We're going to be losing other inspectors. We need to make this happen.
Are we gonna have an MOU soon?
Yes, I can
Okay.
have it today. I can get it today for next week if that's what
That's
we.
perfect.
Yep, I will make
Thank
sure it's
you.
all drawn up.
And
we
then
worked.
I want to see it if we could in advance the plan and the changing of the table
We
of
have all that too,
organization
your
and the
table
fact
board.
that if there
Okay,
were, the
yeah.
other thing that's missing that hasn't been discussed with the board that we talked about yesterday is having other positions that are not going to be filled. So we need to make sure that all of our i's are dotted and the t's are crossed, because they could say, okay, well, we're gonna need to fill this.
Mhm.
So those, I think there were a couple.
Yes,
One-
so that'll be in the MOU too, just to be,
Okay.
so all these things, I truly, I know maybe because I'm new and people don't believe me just yet, but I do know what I am doing. So this MOU will also say that this position that was part of the union will still remain there.
but it
It's
was-
just on management's end, it's not intended to be filled.
Yes,
We're
because-
not removing anything. We're simply just thinking outside of the box, working together. I have to commend Mike. I have to commend the union. We sat down for an hour and for the first time ever, we all three agreed on something, which I didn't happen before us coming here. So I think this is really a win-win for Trumbull County and for the building inspection department.
Good.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Nice job.
Auditor Yoder.
Hello. Just a couple things on today's agenda. First of all, and we talked a little bit about both of these yesterday, but item 17 on today's agenda, Mr. Laird's resignation. I want to just assure the board that IT is working closely with the interim director as well as Roger before he leaves to make sure that there's no gaps. Because we know that Roger was had a lot of influence in the technology part of 911. And of course, that's very important to our county and we want to make sure, and we're going to work temporarily to make sure that everything stays where it should be and that things are done until we get a new director and fill the operations director position. Of course, that has to be done in that order. And along those lines, especially, I want to encourage the commissioners. I know that you guys have the final three or the top three that Ms. Bush has recommended. I encourage you guys to move on that really quickly because it's really important that we get that person in place so we can get the second person in place and there's no gaps. We just want to make sure of that. And then secondly, yesterday, item 27 and 28 on today's agenda with regard to the methadone, Commissioner Malloy, who had asked me about Suboxone, and I wanted to assure you that we do cover that, actually cover the generic for that. I think the speculation on my part, but I think the reason that the methadone wasn't covered is methadone and MAT are a more expensive treatment. There's a requirement with methadone that it be done with through a treatment center, at a treatment center that's licensed. And so there's a more of a higher cost to that.
Gotcha. Thank you for that.
Someone actually asked me about a deputy at the sheriff's department, someone. They told me to ask you, they didn't.
They need to actually call the office and specifically speak with the payroll, Penny Bitus or Kim Engel, because they would know that. They direct them to do that because obviously that's one of those things you have to look into the computer to find out and research, and they would be able to answer those questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else from the floor? Yes, sir. Please state your name and where you're from again.
Terrence Mott, Youngstown, Ohio. I recently had an incident, with my life anyhow, involves foreign entities. And I had to appear before court, federal court. And I stated to the government and the court that they're not to interfere in any more of my affairs because it involves the Treasury Department. Okay. I deal with pretty big people. I get things done. I bring money into my country. I set up deals. I just don't want to be interfered. I understand people want to put up hospitals and all these shopping centers and everything else. I just sure hope we have the people to go in these places. Not necessarily hospitals, but shopping. And I'm involved in a lot of stuff like that. So out of my deal that the government has on my property, they pulled all this money out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Kim Blasco. I am the service director for the city of Cortland. I'm here on behalf of Mayor Potosky. She filed a request for some ARPA funding. And I'm just here to tell you a little bit about the request that we made. So she did submit that online, so it should be available to read. So the project we are asking for, it's a water line replacement for the piping in our well field, as well as generator backups that we would like to have installed as well. The well field is roughly dated back to the 1960s, so it is very aged. It is one of the oldest areas that we have in the city. It does feed our well tower, and it does feed the entire 7,100 population that we have in the city of Portland. The generator backups, we have one currently in the Willow Park that supports 4 well houses. That alone has to be started manually. Unfortunately, because of that, we lost 2 motors last fall because of an incident with a squirrel. And just recently with the windstorms we had, we lost another 2 motors when the power went out. So it is something that we are looking to do here in the city, just to be proactive, so we no longer have well houses go down and are out of service for a period of time. So that is the project we're looking at. I'm just, like I said, here to explain a little bit about the project. So if there's any questions or any further questions when you do have a chance to take a look at that, please feel free to reach out to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a little update we got yesterday also in our meeting. We did move along and we're waiting for resolutions to be drawn up by the attorney. The COT for Johnson Fire Department, the Cortland Park, the Safety City, Mesopotamia, their grant, everything except for the roof, and Bloomfield, the sidewalks and the lampposts, 124,000. So we hope to have those soon to be able to vote on them. The Kinsman Garage and the Vernon Street project were both denied by the attorney for not fitting the credentials and the criteria, and the roof for MESPO. So we look forward to keep moving these things along. We had some successful meetings a few weeks ago, and we look to try to get to these as soon as we possibly can. There are things now that are in the attorney's hand. We moved some more things to legal for her to rule on. And, but these are the ones she ruled on already, that now she has to write up the wording for us so we can vote on it appropriately.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, let's go to the phone lines. You can, to unmute yourself, do *6 and identify yourself and where you're from. Hit *6 and identify yourself, please. Okay,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
yes.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you for coming.